Assalamu alaikum and greeting to all. We are Group 5, UHIT2302, Section 25, Science and Technology Thinking. Today we'll take you in a journey around communication evolution. I hope you enjoy watching. My name is Muhammad Mahmoud El-Wafa Ahmad and these are my group members. Luay Muhammad Ibrahim, Abdul Salam Al-Jamal, Abdul Malik Marwan, Hussein Yusuf Hashim, Muhammad Faraj. On this topic, we'll focus on three main objects. Firstly, knowing the civilization and foundation of communication, the reality of communication and communication properties, and the most important thing, doing a global survey in 5 different countries and collecting multiple pieces of evidence to deepen consideration. During this journey, we'll go with introduction and communication evolution, nature of communication, history of communication evolution, and communication techniques, and lastly conclusion, then the reference. As human beings, we use technical means to augment and extend the natural capabilities of speaking, drawing, writing, and counting to provide rich diversity of way of communication. The result is an impressive array of intercommunication and mass communication facilities. Phenomenon of communication and information reinforce the specificity of the modern society. Intensified the number of communication people is constantly increasing. Environments are ambiguous and appear in alternative forms. Currently, each communication message can be changed and substituted by a quite different message. The information transmitted during the communicative act has proved to be one of the most important productive forces of modern society. This concept of communication in modern social cognition has been conceived for the last 100 years in context of linguistic approaches. Through the survey I conducted in Egyptian society, many agree that contemporary communication led to unprecedented openness to the world and also helped to create different society in the Egyptian environment. I also saw the development of concept of communication during our life is an innate, the submerged matter in the human being. It is worth note that most Egyptians believe that the way of means of communication will change with the change of the period. Therefore, many expected communication theories to change in the future.
The concepts of intercourse and communication, as they are different forms of interaction between people, communities, and cultures. The researcher considers communication as a one-way process, whereas the concept of intercourse implies interactions, most often defined as a form of human interaction, which is characterized by the exchange of information. The weak point in this thesis is the vague and ambiguous understanding of information. The information society is seen as a new social paradigm, a specific form of civilization unit to substitute the agrarian and industrial societies. In Yemeni societies, options were somewhat exciting, as their societies didn't have a noticeable change. Most of them believe that communication is a human instinct that may evolve and may remain as it is in their societies. Under the nature of Yemeni societies, the emergence of new types of communication in the future may be possible.
There is no sharp line between the means of communication and the rest of the external world. However, along with the birth of the external world, the system of standard symbols to be used solely for the transmission of thoughts appears. Here, the tradition communication development begins. UHIT defines communication as transcoding process of the verbal into the nonverbal and the nonverbal into the verbal spheres. Historically, it was exactly what communication was, forcing another person to perform a practical action. The structure of function of communication in society, who is transmitting what to who using what channel and obtaining what result. All these definitions outline an understanding of communication as a special kind of social interaction, where communicative actions are consequently oriented toward semantic perception. The beginning of the theories of communication is associated with the intellectual history of the 20s of the 20th century, when the American engineer Harry Nyquist, in his article 1924, Some Factors That Affect the Speed of the Telegraph, provides a theoretical section which analyzes aspects related to intelligence transmission rate using communication tools.
The communication theory was first established by Claude Shannon in 1948 in his work, The Mathematical Theory of Communication, where the author focuses on solving the problem of the base coding of information that the sender wants to transmit. In the 40s of the 20th century, the American theory of communication was developing through the research of secret codes and the mathematical theory of the cryptography. Communication is usually described in terms of several parameters: message types, sender's quality, a form of communication, channel, purpose, and receptions. After surveying the Libyan society, I saw difference of opinions, as there are many different societies, but they don't have any desire to open up to new types of communication. Nevertheless, Libyan society does not accept the major change in communication theories, at least shortly. Many of them believe that the nature of communication has strong impact on the environment due to the difference and spread of routes.
So we can say social communication requires a common set of signs and a common set of semantic rules.
In the 19th of 20th century, the theory of correlation communication was developed, where communication is considered not discretely, but a continuous and dynamic creative process.
The example of ancient Egypt is given where the media existed in the form of stone and papyrus. In turn, the stone becomes the organizer of social time. Stoneworks of architecture provide communication between generations, and the power of pharaohs was disseminated itself both in space and time. Beginning from the 17th of the 20th century, communication models have been considered in the context of social psychology. Through my observation to the Syrian society, I saw that it has a willingness to create new types of communication more than others, and the nature of communications affect them directly. Therefore, it's not surprising if new theories of communication appear, especially in the society. Many of them believe that the main reason for this development is to increase the possibilities available more than ever. Therefore, I see that the future of communication in Syrian society is rapidly changing and it has the ability to processions.
In 1999, Robert Carrick wrote an article, The Theory of Communication as a Field, where he noted the presence of many theories of communication that have little to do with each other. In this regard, he proposed to convert theories of communication into the practice of communication. Survey Palestine. When I surveyed my Palestinian community, I found that the majority are eager to try new types of communication and create diverse communities. However, despite the nature of communication affected by them, it didn't prevent the creation of new theories of communication. It is worth noting that most of those surveyed agreed that the increase in available capabilities and openness to culture lead to an acceleration of the development communication technology. Therefore, the Palestinian society is one of the societies in which the theory of communication has been affected, and we may see in the future the emergence of new theories. Conclusion. Communication is the subject of research of special communication theories, which consider some elements of the communication processes, as well as the effect that arise from the interaction of these elements. The most important trend in modern communication theory is the study of the processes of coding and decoding the information in the message. And the coding and decoding processes differ significantly depending on the cultural characteristics of the communication entities. Since the late 90s of the 20th century, theoretical modeling of communications gave way to the development of applied models of effective communication.
This is the end for our journey. I hope you enjoy watching and thank you for your attention.